Hello, my name is Darren Korb, and I am the composer for Hades and all the other Supergiant games as well, Bastion, Transistor, Pyre, and most recently Hades. And today we're going to be listening to a few tracks from Hades. So this track is called Out of Tartarus, and it'll play when the player is exploring the Underworld and fighting their way chamber to chamber through the Underworld. Specifically, this one plays in Tartarus, the area in the game. So this piece, and all the other pieces that appear in a similar context, they all have three distinct sections. The first one is this sort of ambient shaker thing with some synthesizers that you heard at the beginning. This next part that you're hearing now is the sort of Mediterranean folk arrangement of the piece, and then later on it kicks into a hard rockin' version of the piece. Same thing, just a different arrangement. And so I use, on the soundtrack I use the balama, the bouzouki, the lavta, and some other instruments from the region to help with that Mediterranean folk kind of vibe. And you'll hear that melody there is being played. It sounds kind of like a theremin, but it's actually being played on a Casio SK1, which is a keyboard that's a little toy keyboard from the 80s that I just think has a fun sound. So I put a bunch of effects on that, and that sort of acts as my theremin. It's much easier to play than a real theremin. So hopefully when you're playing the game, the idea is that it feels scored to your run, and the piece advances through itself in a way that feels natural. Like, here we go. And then you start your boss fight feeling like, feeling pretty cool is the idea. Because you got this rockin' music playing. So even if you get your butt kicked, it's okay. So this next piece is called God of the Dead, and this plays over the game's final boss fight with the God of the Dead. So the first section of this piece that you're hearing now is a reiteration of the game's main theme that I wanted to put in a different context when you get to this boss fight here. You've been hearing it every time you start the game, and you've been hearing kind of a version of it every time you die. So it's a theme that's kind of been drilled into your brain by the time you get to this point, when you actually get to the boss. It's just so much fun to just play something as heavy as possible and see how hard I could rock as a personal challenge to myself. Now this section rocks in a different way than the next section, which is a lot more high energy, but we'll get to that in a sec. But doing this stuff here, just trying to add as much heft as possible to the riffs here. Yeah, chunky, I'll say, very chunky. This part is as heavy as I could make it. That's the point of this part. I just wanted something that was like real nasty and heavy and slow and felt just really, really vile. So here we got this sustained note that feels like an ending, but uh-oh, I don't think it's over. What's happening? He's about to get up. That health bar is gonna refill. There it is. And then at that point, as the player, like, oh no, what have I done? I just finished with no health, and I gotta do a whole other phase. So this part, for me, my personal challenge was how fast can I rock and still play it? Like, what's the fastest I can play this heavy riff, and I figured out what that was, and I sort of dialed it back like 10% and then played, and then that's what determined what this section was going to feel like. So this was a blast to play, this whole section. And one of my big inspirations for this part, I was listening to a lot of Megadeth, Rust in Peace, that album. It's just, for something about that, it just has, it's melodic and heavy and fast and crazy. This track is called On the Coast, and this plays when you finally beat the final boss, you beat Hades, and you reach the surface and arrive to finally meet Persephone, Zagreus' mother. And this kind of serves as Persephone's theme. Getting to Abbey Road and being in Studio 2, the room where the Beatles recorded all their albums, and hearing the musicians perform this was incredible and surreal. And to perform original music that I'd written and have it be recorded really for the first time at Abbey Road was a pretty magical experience for me, for sure. And so with this section of the piece, I wanted to evoke a sense of wonder and excitement. I wanted it to feel also really different from all the other music in the game. The surface has its own texture and just air and light and everything that you have not experienced in the underworld your entire life as Zagreus, who's never been outside. And so there should be a real sense of release and relief when you hear this. And it's also designed to play over these sort of emotional conversations that Zagreus is having with his mother. And so the piece moves through these more sort of lyrical sections here to try and support that. This part, I like this part a lot, and I only made it, it only repeats twice or something like that in the actual track, but in the game it's designed to sort of loop through a particular section of the conversation. And I've seen a lot of fan comments like, I just wish this part was 10 minutes long. So that's pretty fun to see stuff like that.